It was a typical Friday night, or so I thought. My friend Lena and I were huddled on my patio, sharing a bottle of Pinot Noir. The air was warm, the laughter easy. We talked about work, our kids, the usual things. Then, Lena went quiet. When she looked up, her eyes were filled with a strange mix of fear and determination. "There's something I need to tell you," she began, her voice barely a whisper. My pulse quickened. Lena wasn't one for drama. Whatever she was about to say, I knew it was serious. I took a fortifying sip of wine, bracing myself. "Go on," I urged, my curiosity piqued. Little did I know, her next words would send a tremor through the very foundation of my marriage. "Mark is having an affair." The words hung in the air, heavy and surreal. My mind struggled to process them. Mark, Lena's husband, the man who brought her coffee every morning and doted on their children? It seemed impossible. A wave of nausea washed over me. I felt a rush of empathy for Lena, her pain palpable, yet a selfish part of me couldn't help but feel a jolt of fear. Seeing her pain so raw and real triggered something deep within me. It made me question my own seemingly perfect life. "How?" was all I could manage, my voice barely a croak. Lena proceeded to tell me a story of deceit so intricate, so carefully crafted it chilled me to the bone. It was a betrayal that shook her to her core, leaving her questioning everything she thought she knew. As I listened to her story unfold, I felt a growing unease about my own marriage. Lena's revelation was like holding a cracked mirror up to my own marriage. It made me examine the cracks and imperfections I had been choosing to ignore. Suddenly, I was hyper-aware of every unanswered text, every late night at work, every moment of disconnect between my husband, David, and me. Had I missed the signs? Or worse, had I chosen not to see them? The thought sent a shiver down my spine. I had always prided myself on my strong marriage, but Lena's story planted a seed of doubt, a tiny voice whispering, "What if?" Sleep was impossible that night. My mind raced, replaying scenes from my own marriage, searching for any hint of infidelity. Each unanswered question, each fleeting moment of distance was magnified under the harsh glare of suspicion. Doubt, once planted, is a tenacious weed. It burrowed its way into my thoughts, twisting my perceptions. I found myself questioning everything about David. His late nights at the office, once a source of pride, now felt suspicious. His casual mentions of a new colleague, once insignificant, now seemed loaded with hidden meaning. The easy banter we once shared felt strained, as if we were both walking on eggshells. I hated the suspicion that was poisoning my thoughts, but I couldn't seem to shake it. Every interaction felt like a test, every word a potential lie. I found myself analyzing his tone of voice, his body language, searching for any hint of guilt or deception. The more I searched, the more elusive the truth seemed to become. The once unshakable foundation of my marriage felt as unstable as shifting sand. The comfortable routines we had built over the years suddenly felt stifling, suffocating. The laughter felt forced, the intimacy strained. I was acutely aware of the chasm growing between us, a silent rift carved by suspicion and unspoken fears. The weight of Lena's revelation hung heavy, casting a long shadow over our once sunny existence. The casual intimacy we once shared, the easy affection, the comfortable silences all felt different now. It was as if a pane of glass had been erected between us, distorting our reflections, making it impossible to truly see each other. Communication, once our saving grace, became a minefield. Every conversation felt fraught with tension, every word carefully chosen, every silence pregnant with meaning. I longed to confide in David, to share the turmoil that was consuming me, but the fear of what I might uncover held me back. How do you tell your partner that their behavior, once considered normal, now seems suspicious? How do you voice your fears without sounding accusatory, without shattering the fragile peace we were clinging to? We were like two ships passing in the night, each adrift in a sea of unspoken anxieties. The comfortable rhythm of our lives, once a source of comfort, now felt like a broken record, playing the same tired tune over and over again. Desperate for guidance, I reached out to a therapist. Talking to a neutral party, someone who could offer an objective perspective, felt like a lifeline. In the safe space of her office, I poured out my fears, my anxieties, my growing sense of disconnect. The therapist listened patiently, offering no judgment, only empathy and insightful observations. She helped me see that my reaction to Lena's situation was a reflection of my own insecurities, my own unaddressed fears about commitment and fidelity. She encouraged me to communicate with David, not from a place of accusation, but from a place of vulnerability, to share my fears and insecurities and to invite him to do the same. It was a daunting task, but one I knew I had to undertake if I wanted to save my marriage. The journey back from suspicion is a long and arduous one. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It demands that we examine our own vulnerabilities, our own insecurities, and the role they play in our relationships. I knew that rebuilding trust with David and with myself wouldn't be easy. It would require patience, understanding, and a commitment to open and honest communication. We had to rediscover each other, to peel back the layers of hurt and resentment that had accumulated over time. It was a daunting task, but one that we both knew was necessary if we wanted to salvage the love we had built together. Where my marriage goes from here, I cannot say for sure. Lena's revelation was a wake-up call, a stark reminder that even the most seemingly solid relationships are vulnerable to cracks and fissures. It forced me to confront my own fears and insecurities, to acknowledge the areas where my marriage needed work. The journey ahead will undoubtedly be challenging, but I'm committed to facing it head-on, with honesty and courage. For in the end, the greatest act of love is not to shy away from the hard truths, but to face them together, hand in hand.